How's it going, guys? And welcome back to Cop Party. We're gonna continue where we last left off, and we left off in the school at night. That's impossible. She was no fortune teller or psychic, as far as I was aware. How could she possibly have known this would happen? Hell, even if she were a fortune teller or a psychic, predicting the future is the stuff of fiction. I shook my head.
落ち着くのよ、私。音楽室の方はまだ停電になってないとか、きっとそんな理由だよ。
I curled my chalk-dusted fingers into a fist, silently tried to talk some sense into myself.
ともかく、早く校舎を出よう。
I accidentally updated my capture module. Something that I had to uninstall because of that black screen problem. I hope it doesn't do that again, though. Or have to uninstall it again. I shouldn't have been playing teacher. I should have been in and out by now. Cursing myself a little, I fumbled my way through the darkened classroom. So that's why I'm like keeping an eye on if it skips something off the screen when it goes dark or anything. I spent so much time in here. You'd think I'd be able to find my way out of it with my eyes closed, as it were, but sadly that wasn't the case. Smashing loudly into the desk, I knocked it on its side and began tumbling after it, instinctively grabbing the other desk around me for support.
いけない。机の中身撒き散らしちゃったよ。元に戻さなくちゃ。
Still fumbling around blindly, I gathered up all the scattered notes, textbooks, and writing utensils.
でも、暗くて何がなんだか。もう何やってるのよ、急いでるのに。本当にドジなんだから。
I just let out a sigh. I seem to be doing that a lot lately.
これは教科書とノートでしょ。
I was trying to take inventory of all the things I'd knocked out of the desk, then realized why. I might as well just stand it up and stuff it all back in.
さすがに全部を間違いなく元に戻すのは無理だな。明日ここの席の子に謝らなくちゃ。
Not that that was a particularly pleasant prospect. Explaining what I've done wouldn't be easy, and no matter how I sugarcoated it, it would serve as a clear indication of my clumsiness. If I didn't say anything, it's like I'd be found out, but that would be the same as lying. As far as I'm concerned, I couldn't do that.
これで最後かな。
I placed my hand against the floor and swept it around, feeling for anything I might have guessed. Missed. And I found something, alright.
やだ。何これ。なんだかぬるぬるして。
I clearly brushed my fingers across something, but I had no idea what. It was no notebook or writing implement. Though, that's for sure.
机の中からなんでブニュブニュしたものが。
Maybe they had been there on the floor all along.
なんだろうこれ。
It's something slimy. I rubbed my sticky fingertips a bit deeper into the wet spot, then brought my hand up close to my face so I could get a better look at what was there. What on earth did I just touch? There was a flash of lightning almost immediately, joined by a roaring thunderclap. And with it, for a split second, the pitch-black classroom was lit up bright as day. Oh! It was blood. In my mind, I thought it was like something black, slimy thing. I shut my feet, utterly mollified. In that split second, I've gotten a very good look at my fingers, and it really did seem as if they were covered in blood. But it wasn't just my hand. No, if my peripheral vision were to be trusted, it looked like the entire classroom was stained a deep dark crimson.
そういえば、なんとなく生臭い気がする。
Without thinking, I backed away from where I'd been crouching. I tried rationalizing what I saw. How could a whole classroom become a bloodbath like this? Did something spill? Did someone stumble in here injured?
ありえない。そんな、何よこれ。
Well, there were no blood when you got in first time, right? My whole body was quaking. I fled from the classroom. Or rather, I tried to flee. Door's locked!
開かない。やだやだやだ。鍵なんてかかってなかったのに。今だって鍵はかかってないよ。それなのに。
The prophecy has been fulfilled. Well, the story is, at least. I was pulling so hard it felt like my fingernails might tear loose. But I just couldn't. But it just wouldn't budge.
なんでよ。
I was absent-mindedly grabbing at my hair with one hand and slammed my fist on a nearby desk with the other. This was a nightmare.
もう何これ。
He's not supposed to die now. Silence saturated the inky blackness of the room. I took several deep breaths in an effort to restrain my pounding heart.
とにかく一度落ち着かないと。そもそもドアが開かないのだって私がこんなにパニックになってるせいかもしれないし、さっきの変な塊だってきっと何かの勘違いだよ。だってありえないじゃない。教室にあんなわけのわからないものが落ちてるだなんて。
I was certain that what I saw what it actually was come morning. What? I was certain that when I saw that it actually was come morning. It ended up being something totally random, like someone's old soda-stained gym clothes.
きっとそうだよ。そうだ。
Yeah, let's try to make sense out of everything.
美術に使う絵の具かもしれないじゃない。
Then why didn't you see it when you got in the first time, huh? My imagination was just running wild because I was panicking.
もしかしたらドアに何かが挟まってて開かないだけか
I
も
guess
しれない。
panic makes you see things. And the door probably just... now I'm confusing myself even. I decided to check out that hypothesis by feeling my way across the door and determining if anything was jutting up from any of the cracks.
ダメだ。真っ暗で何にも見えない。
Man, I'm reading very badly today. I fumble around the gaps in the door, but I just couldn't make anything out that way.
他の出口は。
No, this was the third floor. I couldn't get out of here without exiting into the hallway.
今すぐ外に出たいのに。
Still at a loss, I noticed a sudden flash of light through the hallway window. But the glass was only translucent, so I couldn't be sure of its source.
誰か歩いてくる。
Then there came a distinctive clump of footsteps.
そうだ。きっと用務員さんだ。
I wouldn't trust. I recalled the existence of a custodian who always patrolled the school grounds. I'm sure he was probably taking a look around after the sudden power outage.
助かった。
All at once, my fear at legs regained their strength. This nightmare would soon be over.
すみません。
I shouted to the custodian at the top of my lungs through the window.
すみません。閉じ込められてるんです。
I had to be sure he heard me. I shouted again. Finally, I could see the light of the hallway again, and it seemed to be getting closer. However...
なんかこの光おかしい気がする。
Trust you, innocence! Obey your thirst, sprite! Perturbed, I took a step away from the window.
懐中電灯だったらもっと明るいよね。この光はなんだか。
Like the faint, unearthly glow classically attributed to spirits. What was I thinking? I tried to stop myself from finishing that thought. However, dullness aside, it also looked like it was wriggling around in a very unnatural, very unflashlight-like way.
それにこの足音。
4 clumps, then a 3 or so second interval, then another 4 clumps, and it sounds like he's walking outside. They were sounding in a fixed rhythm.
用務員さんじゃない。明らかに変な歩き方。
And by outside, not like outside the door, but actually outside, not on the school floor. It doesn't sound like he's walking on the actual floor. The fear was back in full force. I had to find somewhere to hide. What if I accidentally summoned something inhuman? I mean, whatever that was, I begged it for help. I literally invited it in.
どこか隠れるところ。そうだ。
shit. I mean, supply locker is like the typical place you would hide, but there must be a trick here. Teacher's podium is like under the table. What's the chance of being found there is pretty high. Oh shit. I mean, does a teacher's podium have a little closet you could hide in or what? I'm not really sure. Hiding under a table, it's mostly like a table, right? So hiding under it would be not really hiding. You would still be found, right? If he walks past the chalkboard, the blackboard, if you are hiding in the supply locker, it's kind of so cliche to hide there. I don't know. Supply locker, teacher's podium. I think it makes sense to hide in the supply locker. I mean, it's a locker. You can close the door and be still. But I think there's some trick to it. There's something wrong. That I shouldn't go for the supply locker, but the teacher's podium. I trust the teacher's podium. I heard it hit myself beneath the teacher's podium. I grabbed my knees, curled up, and made myself as small as I could.
なんなの？一体どうなってるの？
The footsteps continued to draw nearer and nearer. Little by little, the sound grew louder. Every hair on my body was standing on end.
このまま通り過ぎてください。お願いします。
I held my breath, clasped my hands together, and silently prayed. I guess the footsteps can't decide if it's inside or outside. They were close now. Very, very close.
神様!
Why was this happening? Excuse what I said last time. That made no sense. It sounds like he's outside on the ground, not... Yeah, I said that before. I couldn't make any sense of it. I just wanted it to be over. I prayed to God that it would end. Was this the end? Was this what the old woman was trying to warn me about? Was this all happening because I ignored her? Because I didn't take the paper doll from her? Was it because I heard that ghost story from Yoshi and allowed it to get to me? Or did the strange events of the day have nothing to do with what's happening to me now?
口から心臓が飛び出しちゃいそうだよ。
I was still holding my breath. I didn't dare let even the tiniest of sounds escape and give away my position. Now it sounds like it's inside. The constant rhythm of the footsteps suddenly ended halfway into one of its cycles.
Huh?
And it had ended right in front of this very classroom. I had goosebumps up and down my arms and legs. Holy shit, me too, man. I stopped praying and clasped my hands over my mouth. I knew I'd scream if I didn't. Could this be Yoshi? Yoshie? Was the school legend real? All I could do was close my eyes, keep my mouth shut, and hope that whoever was, or whatever this was, would just go away. But the footstep sounds didn't start again. If this was indeed Yoshie, then she'd stopped in front of the classroom and was just standing there. I had no concept of time anymore. I stayed in my hiding spot for what was probably only a few minutes, but felt like at least an hour.
足音が消えた。
I decided to carefully peek out under the podium. I gingerly edged my head out just far enough to get a glimpse of the room, when suddenly... the footsteps rang out once more. It sounded like they were headed right for me, and they might have been inside the room. I honestly couldn't tell. I scrambled back into my hiding spot and covered my mouth with both hands. Holy shit, this is scary. This was too much for me. My breathing was coarse and erratic, and my face was a mess of tears and snot.
神様、助けて!
Holy shit, this is scary. And exciting to see what's going on. I was inconsolable. The footsteps just wouldn't stop. What on earth were they doing? It almost seemed like they were running around in circles just to scare me.
やめて! もう、やめて!
I mouthed these words over and over again and moved my hands to my ears in vain to attempt to block out these torturous sounds. And as if in response, the sound changed. It was a loud, dull thud followed by silence. No more footsteps. I'd heard that sound hundreds of times before. It was the classroom door sliding open. I peeked out, but the door was still tightly shut. How could that be? If the sound I heard wasn't the door, then what was it? What little safety I'd felt here was pretty much gone, but to be fair, I wasn't absolutely certain the spirit had seen or heard me either. The prospect of stepping out into the open wasn't a desirable one, but I had to decide if it was better to stay where I was or to make a break for it. Ah, shit, son! Okay, now it comes to the... Now I actually interact with this game now. Now something seriously. Stay hidden would be bad if you ask me. I mean, the door is still... But then again, the door is still locked, or so you may think. I did a save. Should I make a break for it? I mean, the faster you're out of this. But then again... Oh man, these are really hard choices. Stay here and never be found. Maybe let's just make a break for it. Let's see what happens. I want to stay hidden, but I also want to get out of here. Staying in one place for too long seemed like it would be inviting trouble, so I took a deep breath and reluctantly crawled out, as quietly as I could. But almost immediately I felt something. Tap. Something long and thin had struck me in the back of the head. Or perhaps struck isn't the right word. There was a little force behind it, but it wasn't a hard slam, more like someone trying to get my attention. I should have stayed. I knew I wouldn't like what I was going to see, but I had to face whatever this was, so I turned around. And there, looming over me was... I should have stayed hidden. That's what I'm trying to do, woman! A figure was peering down at me from above the podium with one emaciated wishbone-like finger extended towards my face. I recognized this person instantly. No doubt about it. This was the strange old woman who supposedly passed away earlier. Why are you not showing it? You're ruining it. I was scared out of my mind. I tumbled the rest of the way out from the podium and shot to my feet. A ghost! There really was a ghost in the school. My breathing was wrecked and my heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. Plowing through all the desks in my way, I ran as fast as I could toward the classroom door. But that was as far as I could go. There, in the open doorway, there was the same old woman emitting a bluish-white glow. This was the source of the light I'd seen through the window earlier. But how in the world did she get into the door before I did? I should have stayed hidden. I felt like I was starting to hyperventilate. I tried as best as I could to calm my breathing as my eyes darted about the room. I needed to get out of here now. To get as far away from this place as I possibly could.
前のドアから出られないとなると、外に出るには後ろのドアから出るしか。でもそうすると、廊下は前のドアにいるあの幽霊の後ろを通らないと出口には着かない。そんなの無理。でも。
I bit my lip and continued scanning the room.
何かあれに対抗できるようなものがあればいいんだけど。
I didn't have the time to think carefully about it. I just had to grab something and hope for the best. There were two choices, and I had to pick one on impulse, before it was too late. Bag of salt? Fuck that! A broom from the cleaning supply locker. That might work. Maybe I could fend her off with it. It was a long shot, but it was better than just standing around and getting caught. Shit! I remember something about salt and bad spirits! Or bad omen. When I looked over, the spirit of the old woman was holding out her hand from the other side of the door frame. I should probably have chosen salt. She really was trying to catch me. I wasn't just being paranoid. She was going to kill me and turn me into a ghost like her. I was convinced this had to be Yoshie, the teacher from the urban legend. I couldn't waste any more time. I darted up through the back door of the classroom into the safe end of the hall. I was running at top speed, hoping to escape behind the spirit's back. Unsurprisingly, trying to outrun the ghost proved to be a fruitless endeavor. The spirit saw me and moved at breakneck speed to intercept. I impulsively thrust the broom out and stabbed her in the eye with it. Take that, I thought. But my moment of bravado was short-lived. The broom immediately shattered into a million pieces, and if my attack accomplished anything, it just made her mad. I had the sudden sensation of something seizing me by the throat, accompanied by an unpleasant crunching sound. God, she really did have me by the throat. I couldn't breathe. But old and frail as she looked, she was uncommonly strong. I knew I should have got the salt. She was actually grabbing me so tightly that she managed to raise me off the ground by my neck. I could see her slender bony hand in the periphery of my vision, feeling cutting into my trachea. What? What was that? Was that hand really holding me in the air against my will? Kicking and flailing like just the tissue and bones of my neck? I couldn't struggle anymore. I was like a puppet on a string. With a sudden crack, my field of vision shifted 90 degrees and everything turned blood red. Ah, yeah, that was a bad end. I should have gotten with the salt. Always go with the salt. Because I always see it in comedy jokes when a bad person leaves, they throw salt after her to like, I don't know, let's get the salt. Yeah, might as well save the system data. It doesn't seem to be skipping whenever there's a black screen. It seems to be doing fine. Awesome. Let's try this again with this with the salt this time. Uh, 2020. This must be it. Yes. Blah blah blah.
落ち着くのよ、私。音楽室の方はまだ停電。
Ah. Oh, that's the wrong save. Well, I'm fast forwarding. Okay, wrong save. What the fuck? I guess it has to be this one. What the dates are all messed up here. Make a break for it. Back us up!
これって科学の実験の時に使った塩の残
This
しだ
looks
よ
like
ね。
leftover salt from an old chemistry experiment. I'd heard that salt was used in purification rituals, so it seemed like a natural choice.
よし、これを持っていこう。
I placed the salt in my pocket as a sort of protective charm.
怖いけど、行くしかない。
When I looked over, the spirit of the old woman was holding out her hand from the other side of the door frame. She really was trying to blah 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 blah. We know this.
やだ、そんなの。
Bracing myself, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. I threw the door open and began running, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Let's see how well we do this time with salt. I thrust my hand into my pocket and withdrew the bag of salt. Threw the entire thing directly at the old woman's face. Well, that seemed to work! Better than the broom.
いるんだ、この隙に。
I ran down the hall as fast as my legs could carry me, briefly glancing over the shoulder after a moment to confirm that the spirit was still breathing. Breathing. running down the dark hallway with nothing but adrenaline and mortal fear to keep me going. I reached the stairwell at the end of the hall and made a mad dash toward ground level, determined to get out of this building alive. Bitch, please! No! I'm not gonna stop for you! The fan is still moving at top speed. I reached the window door leading outside. Luckily, the malevolent spirit hadn't caught up to me yet. It actually seemed like I might be able to escape. I might actually survive this! I grabbed the handle and tried pulling it. Break the glass! Can I save? Let's do a quick save and see. No! 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 Fast to survive, but what other options I may have? The moment seemed to be dumbfounded. The way out in front of me. I was powerless to take it. I raised my head to see if the ghost economy can be found. Load. Let's try this again. See how fast I can react. Oh, okay. Whew! It starts where I make the choice. Break the glass? I don't think that would work. I don't think that would work. But then again, Morishige didn't actually jump out a window, right? Or maybe I could hide somewhere and throw Yoshi off my trail. I had no particular destination in mind. My only thought was anywhere about here. But maybe 30 seconds I found myself in the second floor hallway. There was an outside corridor connecting to two buildings of the school there. It was the first alternate escape route that came to mind. Naturally, it was walled off on the outside for safety purposes. The wall wasn't so big that I couldn't scale it in a pinch. I didn't really want to jump off the second floor of the school, but if I had to, I was confident that I'd at least survive the fall with minimal injury. I climbed the wall faster than I thought possible and dropped down to the narrow ledge on the other side. It was just wide enough to sit down. My back was under the hallway. My location should have been completely hidden from anyone inside the school. I looked down at the muddy ground below me. I really couldn't see much though. The outside was completely dark. It was so dark that it felt almost like the whole wall had been draped in a black veil. I opened the pen case in my pocket and pulled out a pencil I received from Tsukasa. Was I really treating this stupid pencil as a protective charm? Tsukasa said it would guarantee success on my test. Not fought off evil spirits! Still, it was better than nothing. I clutched it tightly in my hands and prayed. They whispered the words so quietly that I might as well have been mouthing them. But that seemed to be all the opening that damn spirit needed. I sensed a presence on the ledge with me. I was so startled that I almost fell from my perch. However, I could only sense her there. I didn't actually see her, and thought for one brief moment that maybe I was letting my imagination run wild. And then I felt the horrible sensation of something coiling itself around my arm. Whoa! Whoa, whoa! Shit! Before I knew it, a tall, shadowy figure had half emerged from the wall behind me, and she had me in her grasp. There was much more of her than an indistinct flickering silhouette. I could clearly see that she had a broken neck. Was this a different apparition? Her scraggly rope-like fingers were squeezing my arm with tremendous force, pushing aside muscle and tissue and pressing right on home. Dude, that's scary. woman?
痛い痛い痛い
I was shaking hysterically and tears were streaming down my face. I was absolutely convinced that I was going to die here.
離して
I'm not Sachi. I could offer no resistance, and she was too strong. All I could do was plead with her.
やめて痛い痛いよ
I felt like my arm would snap in two at any moment.
ずーっと一緒にいましょうね。
She wasn't just grabbing, but twisting as well. The pain was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. I couldn't think about anything else. Stomach it would become my first and only priority. I struck violently against the spirit's grip, ultimately breaking free of throwing my body off the wall towards the unseen earth below. In the face of death, everything really does seem to slow down. I'd read somewhere that this is because the brain is sending all kinds of distress signals or something, slow motion or not. Though I was fully aware of my surroundings. I was cascading through the air just outside my school building. Prey upon the pencil. Shit, son! Dude, this is... Holy shit, what are my choices? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna leave you guys with a high five! Here we go! Of course, I'll leave a download link in the description. The mailbox? Ah! Ah! No!